And what an interesting day to be recording on in the middle of an interesting week. And I know you're a busy man for sure, but it's good to have you this week, man. And I've watched a couple of your fights, and got enough time to really study like just your background. So, I feel like I could have done even more research. I always feel like with guests, there's something that I get on. I'm like, I wish I would have known that previously, but. Yeah, man. You've been at it for some time and in the win column right now, brother. It's good to see. And how did you get into fighting to begin with? I mean, like not even like your first fight, but just into the gym and into that life.
So I started when I was 18, so we're looking at almost 16 years now. Next May will be 16 years of fighting.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a long time, a lot of punishment, but I was one of those bullied kids in school. I was a lot smaller than I am now. I mean, I probably I started high school 5'2", 100 pounds. And up until my senior year, I was finally hitting about 170. Played baseball, really kind of fell out of passion with it and found fighting as my new source and outlet. And it went from there. I mean, 3 months, I think, into the gym after I graduated, I had my first boxing match. So it was that was my thing, and it just never stopped.
And as the what you do definitely is different from boxing, but was that something that you thought of before getting in there? Or was boxing something that kind of just fell into your path as you were going along?
Yeah, it was right in my path. I was originally going to do just boxing. And then, I mean, we're talking 2009, the landscape of boxing was super, super poor. I was 8-hour drive one way to go box, was it a 1 minute round for 3 rounds? I'm like, that's not worth it. Like, so
Whoa.
MMA was a good 20 minutes away, and you have full fight. So I was like, let's move to that now. I'm tired. I don't want to travel. I don't want to do all this stuff. Like, let's get some fights that are local.
Yeah, and with the way that boxing is today, it went a path that I never really expected it to go. But you are right. I mean, around that time, I remember I didn't watch MMA as much at that time, and it was just but at the same time, it was so boxing was so lackluster that I think it was that's kind of the beginning of when fighting was starting to or MMA was starting to really take off, and we didn't even really notice. Unfortunately, a lot of people didn't. I think until Conor came around and changed the UFC, for better or worse. That's up to people's interpretation.
Yeah.
But with Jorge Masvidal, speaking of his fighting league, and now the way that things are with MMA and boxing, are you a fan of these celebrity fights that are happening today?
I don't hate them. I am the one of good eye. It's eyes. Like, boxing wasn't doing very good, and Jake Paul, for what he is, he put eyes back on. He helps the younger fighters coming up. Like, he does these things that no one talks about because it's not the personality it portrays. But like at the same time, those eyes are good eyes. Like, without that, you mean the Tyson Furies, the Jake Paul, the people that are very outspoken, and like Conor. What did Ali do in the 60s? He did the same thing, and boxing was huge. And this is the thing that if we want to keep, fighting going, it's going to need these people, these big personalities, larger than life people. I mean, look at 2009 when I first started, it was still taboo. It was so weird. You're a weird person for fighting. Like nowadays, everyone loves it. But without those crazy big celebrities getting into it, would we be here?
I agree. I mean, you have to give him credit for that, Jake Paul. And I mean, now you've got Francis doing his thing, and it's so interesting to see where it's going with boxing in particular. But with MMA, do you think that will happen eventually with Jake Paul, where he will get into, there'll be a super fight in the PFL, wherever it is? Because I don't ever see him going, personally. I don't think he'll go to the UFC just because of Dana's riff with him. But do you see that happening somewhere down the line? Maybe a Nate Diaz?
I see him at least doing a PFL. I mean, people also forget the Paul brothers were legit wrestlers. I mean, I'm from Ohio. They're from Ohio. I mean, they're legit wrestlers and they're athletes. I mean, they have nothing else to do with their lives. They have all the money in the world to do whatever they want. Like, I think we'll see it at least once. And how far it goes from there, I'm curious. But I think we'll see at least one Jake Paul MMA fight.
Have you ever gotten to meet them or train them?
No, I never got to meet. No, you're good. I've met a lot of fighters, but never the Pauls. They were on the other side of Ohio.
That's because they you just would not picture them being from Ohio. I have a lot of family from there, blue collar town, and it's blue collar state. Really, it's definitely not what I expect to hear when they say where they're from. If I'm listening to them for the first time, but I do like some things about it. The celebrity fights, and oh my goodness, people keep calling it the worst times. It feels like this whole week, but with Conor, I don't know if I see him ever doing a celebrity boxing match unless it's against somebody who's legit. And I don't know. I mean, I don't think he'll ever rematch Floyd, but if he was to get into boxing again after, because I guess I should start off by saying, do you think he'll fight Michael Chandler?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. The man has made so much money that realistically fighting is not really a priority to him. But he knows without it, he's not in the limelight. So, like, he's got the BKFC stuff going. I was at the last BKFC event because my buddy was fighting on it. So I got to see Conor, and he was just there for the show, And kudos. I mean, that's where you want to be eventually. Like, you want to get to that point where you're not having to do it, but the grind's not going to be there if you don't have to do it anymore.
It's true, man. The Silk Sheet quote. I love that he still has, that you could tell that he loves fighting, and I don't think that'll ever leave your DNA. And with I never say never on these things. I don't know about, good Lord, never. I'm sure about like Khabib. I don't ever see him coming back and fighting, but it's going to be very fascinating to watch these guys, just getting into old age, even though they're mid 30s.
Yeah.
And for you, where is what are you thinking next for your career? It's because you're in a good spot right now, and I can see the hunger is definitely there. I'm going to go ahead and shut this person down once and for all. Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good, man.
My bad.
No, you're
People
good.
they do this way too often. But I think we left off at the Michael Chandler question, which or we had just touched on
Just
that, and
that
we're
one.
diving into what you're
Me.
getting into doing with your career next, man, because it's you've been an active guy, and I mean, what has it been? Less than 3 years. You've had 5 fights. That's some crazy output, and physically, mentally, it's all the things that people would be asking. The kind of the cliche questions, but where is the hunger come from still at this point? Because you've accomplished a lot in a short amount of time, and it's impressive the output you have put into this world.
Yeah, it's been an interesting time, to say the least. I
I think
separated.
is your mic down a little bit?
I don't think so. What happened? Hang on. Is it better?
It's still down a little bit.
I haven't touched anything.
I think try it one more time.
How about now?
Sounds pretty good.
Okay. So, so what was he back? So starting with the first game bread I did, that's gonna be Javanis Ross. That's when I started my, my spin up. I was separating from the military at that time, so doing something, trying to keep that hunger going, keep working. So we did that, and I did the one after again in December with Freeman, and then I was gonna take a break. Right there, I was like, okay, I'm out. I separated from the military 15 December, fought 19 December, left for Wyoming immediately after, and 3-day drive, and got here right before Christmas. I didn't expect fighting Bellator. That was a Christmas present from one of my old coaches. And obviously, I knew what I was getting into in that fight. It wasn't supposed to be anything for me to win. It was like, hey, you're coming in. This is your opportunity. Take your opportunity. I didn't have a gym. Because I just moved here. I was eating and drinking and getting heavy. And that, I trained myself essentially for that fight. And so went the distance against Jordan Newman, who's, I think, undefeated still. I mean, he's smashing everybody, but so I still went the decision, barely training with him, training for him. So he thinks how he wants things. He's kind of a cocky young kid, but he'll grow up one day. And the 2 days after that fight, my grandpa passed, and he's like my best friend. So I wasn't in the fight mentally. I've watched that fight one time since I've fought. And so I just couldn't do it. And I did. When I did, I was like, it took me like a year. I sat down and watched it. And I was like, that's not me. That's not me in there. I don't know who that guy is. And from there, and I was like, okay, finally get my break. So I was taking my break, and I think that's when Reggie came up. The nicest, most athletic monster I've ever met in my life. We're friends to this day. Never felt anyone stronger, faster. And he beat the crap out of me. But we went to war. And there was a lot of respect between us. And we're both, like I said, friends to this day. He's out there doing his big things. Karate Combat, XFL. He's out there. And then we go into this last one, which was supposed to be my retirement. And my body's not liking it anymore. Trying to get the gym is hard here. And so I put the gloves down in that fight. Well, long and behold, there's a fight that's in the works right now that is the one I'm going to come back for. So Right now, I was looking for Game Bread November 15th. I'm not announced yet. Hopefully, and it's going to be a good fight. We're similar style guys. So it's going to be.
And what is that like working with, I don't like to track the bad energy on Friday the 13th, because it is true at the same time, though, with the line in that song Crazy Train. I think Ozzy is fitting for Friday the 13th. The media sells it and you live the roles. Yeah. I've heard things about George from the media and podcasts.
Yeah.
What is it like to work with that guy and, the process for getting a fight done with Game Bread FC?
They have been nothing but awesome. Jorge's awesome. He real cool, easy to talk to. I put on a show for him, so he likes me, and I continue to do that. Because, there's that myth where people think bare knuckle MMA and gloved MMA is the same record. It's not. It's two separate records, two separate things. So, I go in there to have fun. I make more money there than I do fighting anywhere else. And at the end of the day, it's just a fun thing. Doesn't hurt as bad other than the cuts and stuff, but I go out there to have fun, play games, I smile like crazy. I'm laughing. I talk to people. I mean, half the stuff I can't remember what I said to Reggie when we were fighting, and it was just funny. I'll just do it because it's fun. I'm having fun. Even though the stuff you do is to get there is hard, the weight cutting is hard. I mean, my last one at Trey, I said some mean things too, because I was back in I was the closest I've ever been to my hometown. My last fight, I did worked with my buddy. They ran the promotion. I was like, look, I don't want any money. Just fly me home. Give me a fight home. Being 15 minutes from my hometown. I was like, let's do it. The announcer was my good friend from when I started training. So my original coach, it was awesome. And it felt right. But this one fight, next one is the one I wanted before then. So, like I said, I don't want to jinx anything about it. But like I said, it's going to be a good one. We're both known to put on a show. He's coming from a big promotion from his last one. So, will it be my last one? You never know. Like I've always said, if I get a contract, my goal is 35. 35 was my retirement age. If I didn't make it anywhere by that time, I'm good with it. I'm going to be 34 next year. So I get a good fight off this one. We'll see.
It's pretty damn good goal to have, and to get out at 35. It sounds like a lot of people shoot for that age. I think Dustin had said that he wanted to do, the 35 was, I don't know if he said that was originally what he was thinking or what, but around that age. And, do you think there's a chance that you could be going as long as, Glover and all these guys who go into their 40s? You don't think that's your path?
No. Those bigger guys, there's this thing with heavyweights and bigger guys, they mature later. You look at the DCs and the guys who Stipe's, heavyweights that can fight much longer. It's weird, but they don't mature until their prime, until they're after 35. Then you look at the younger, smaller guys, we're looking at we kind of can't do it. And my body's not cutting the way it should too. That's one of the big things. I don't know if it's just all the years or meds or what, 16 years of fighting, almost 6 years of Air Force, security forces, cop. My body's all broken. So baseball before that growing up. So my body's we should be slowing down, but I'm really trying to keep my body going and at least try to work out, but it's tough some days.
I appreciate the service, man. Yeah, my dad he was in the Air Force for 4 years in Little Rock, Arkansas, and it's it's taxing what guys do. I mean, it especially mentally, but physically too. And it's cool that it sounds like you have come into the game, accomplished a lot of what you wanted to, and you're coming out relatively unscathed, and to be able to, on top of that, put on a show. But I like that also you have the commitment to fighting in your hometown, because speaking of Conor, I remember when he first started, somebody at a press conference asked him about, what do you think of being in California? Because I guess they were fighting in LA, and he's like, I don't really know. I kind of like the fight in Dublin. I love it there, and it's so easy for me to do the Irish.
That was perfect.
It's true, though. I mean, what better than to get out of bed and be fighting at home? Is that if you had to pick a favorite area that you fought in your career, would you say that's what you prefer, just at this point?
I think the being at home was just something that was awesome. It was more like that experience. I fought in Casper, which is my new hometown right now. Kind of forgot that one when I was going through my fights before Reggie. I took a cut to the head and I stopped it. 5 stitches. That was fun. I wasn't ready for it to be done, but they saw otherwise. But the atmosphere is different when you're home, because there's always that thing too. When you go fight somewhere, you're always going to be the celebrity for that moment. Like,
mighty. Sorry, what were you saying?
So I was at. So what was the last thing you got?
Oh, about the cut.
Okay, yeah. So I took a cut, 5 stitches, and they stopped it. And I wasn't ready to be stopped. I was just going. I was ready to go. But then, just like the atmosphere of the different places, like I said, you're the celebrity. In that moment, you fight anywhere, no matter what. You cannot be the hometown guy. Now, if you're being an idiot, not showing respect and just being completely dumb, yeah, you're not going to get that good publicity. But being in Reggie's hometown, fighting in Jacksonville, I earned a lot of respect there, because you look at Reggie Northrup and you look at me, I look like a dude who just wandered into the fight like I shouldn't be there. Reggie looking like a superhero. And it's no one expects little old me to go out there and do anything. Javonis Ross is the same way. We go to do our weigh in, and he's like, you better be there to fight. I'm like, what do you think we're doing? I don't just sign up here just to stand there. And just, no. And we went and put on a good fight. And now me and Javonis are cool. My thing about it is we're both warriors. We're both going in there and respect with each other. We're gonna say things, and we may mean it. We may mean it. Who knows? But at the end of the day, you're gonna respect who I am. I'm gonna respect you because we did it. We went in there. We split blood, sweat, tears, everything. And you come out of it if you don't respect that person, then that person was either really bad or you're just an ass.
It's true. Just occasionally there's just some bad blood that it doesn't ever boil. I didn't ever think that I'd see, Kamaru Usman and Colby show some respect for each other. But time does heal all wounds, and I'm glad that they showed you respect in Jacksonville. As I've been living near there for almost 6 months now, and it's a cool city. I think the people are, I get a lot more of a, welcoming vibe than, going to New York City and Los Angeles. It's just, I'm not going to knock them too much, but
well, it's Southern hospitality. It's a thing. It really is.
Yeah. That's the perfect way to put it. Yeah. It's, I grew up in Virginia, and it's similar. You kind of get some areas in the country where it's, and that's one of them where you would think that you don't get hospitality, but it's really in Virginia getting towards when you go to Northern Virginia, and outside of DC, you're on your own.
Oh, yeah. You know,
Man, but I couldn't be more proud, couldn't be more happy to hear that you're still going at it, man, but you have your goals in sight too. And this is definitely going to be one that I have a feeling that it's just, you manifest some kind of energy that has never been put out there before. And I can't wait to tune in for it, man. And I'm glad that, you're getting the respect you deserve from absolute baller like George, because that guy, look, where he is now, it's quite different from where he started out at. And I mean, the innovator he is, I don't think the game shows him enough respect. And I love what he's doing for the fighters. So, you best believe I'm going to be tuning in for that and plugging it everywhere. And
oh yeah,
I know that I've had about 1,000 phone calls, it feels like, during this one, but I know you got somewhere to go. So I won't keep you any longer, man, but I love to at the end, let people plug their stuff and, anything that you wanted to put out there other than, what you said already about the upcoming fight.
Well, my biggest thing right now, I'm on a mental health journey, right? Like being out of the military really puts a lot of life in perspective, and a lot of things that when you start looking back at things you dealt with. And I didn't see combat. I didn't do nothing like crazy, but I lost friends with mental health battles. We've lost friends with accidents. Like, please people need to take care of themselves. Like, my post-fight career is going to be me being a counselor for the people that don't get represented. And
yes,
my big thing for
rock on, dude. That is awesome.
So I'm hoping that because my boys at AMF who do all my apparel, I'm hoping to do a mental health shirt for the people that not only that I've lost, but the people that other people have lost. So like, always like keep yourself in check, make sure you're good, talk to people. That's just the number one thing. Because so many of us veterans, men in general, fighters, we all are just underrepresented, and it beats us down real bad. Like, I just had talked to a psychiatrist the other day, and it really sucked, but it was good for me. So anyone struggling, like, reach out. That's it. Like, that's my big message anymore. Reach out and take care of each other, because this world's not getting any better. And the only way we can do that is by sticking together.
Damn straight, man. Very good message, because it just feels like, it's part of me says like, oh, this is the toughest time to be a man. But I also remember, the 18-year-olds and World War II and, World War I, and just, even my dad's time when he was getting close to that age, there's still the fear of, could the draft come back? And it's, you get different things at different times in history, but I mean, today it just feels so wicked. Sometimes talking to people, you don't get that Southern hospitality everywhere, like we were saying. And that's a hell of a message to put out there, man. I like that you take care of yourself. You're trying to take care of your brothers in arms, and it's another reason to root for you. And I'll tell you what, I mean, you have anything that you do, going forward with that, understand I'm going to be 100% backing that, whether it's charity events or anything like that. And I feel the same way. It's hard as a man, especially, to reach out and talk to people, but anybody, and that's the main thing, is if you don't let it out to people somehow, even if it's not a psychiatrist, are you going to get better? Or are you going to just, are you going to let yourself crumble? It's really the fight or flight thing. And I like that I hear this from fighters. I mean, if you guys are the closest thing made of steel today, then it makes you feel a lot better about yourself, man. So, thank you for doing that.
No.
I think it's something that I'm not just trying to put into a sound bite. It's a genuine message. I can tell that you really want to put out there. So absolutely, tear this man's lungs out in November, and I would love to try make my way out there, brother. So until then,
did they
definitely train hard. Say hi to the family for me, and we'll do this again. Absolutely, man. Definitely. And next time, I'm making sure that I got the phone on silent.
And I got more. I'll make sure I have more time. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time today, though, again, brother, and hope you get some relaxation tonight, and make sure that you kick the feet up whenever you can next couple months, but ready for war. I know you are.
Always.
Thank you, man, and enjoy your afternoon.
Awesome. Thanks, man. You too.
Be easy.